Hey, how's it going? This is Justin Gilman with Quantum Leads, and today I'll be walking through your digital marketing attack plan to show you how you can increase your monthly revenues by increasing your search appearance online. So, first off, if you take a look at the top here, we're looking at AC Repair San Antonio, which generates about 1,600 searches every single month. However, you have to think of the bigger spectrum here. There's a lot more searches out there when you account for other search terms like AC installation or maybe AC repair near me. So there's a lot of possibilities, but for the sake of time in this video, we're just going to focus on this one search term. And let's start off by talking about how we could turn this monthly traffic into revenue by first talking about your website. So let's go there first. Your website, and we're talking about internal search engine optimization. And this is going to be super important because it's going to lay the foundation for our rankings and determine where our website is going to appear. Now, what internal SEO is essentially all the different ways that we can improve your search appearance from within your website itself. And like I said, it's going to lay that foundation for us. Now, there's a ton of different things you're going to hear when you talk to experts about internal SEO. You're going to hear title tags, heading tags, local business schema. And while all these things are very important, for the sake of time in this video, we're just going to be focusing on content and keywords. Now, why is content and keywords so important? Well, let's start with content here. Well, content is very important because Google tends to promote websites that are very content full. Now, the reason this is because content gives users something to engage with. And when you have something to engage with, it tends to promote a positive user experience. When a user has that positive experience, they're more likely to come back to your website or use Google again for future searches. So it makes sense that Google would promote your website if it was very content full because it's a win-win scenario for both them and you. Now, I normally recommend having about 750 to 1,000 words of content on your homepage. That way you have a very content-full website. However, you don't sacrifice that visual aesthetic. A lot of people are very worried that by adding a lot of content, you take away from the visual part of it. And that 750 to 1,000 words is that golden range where you don't really take away from anything visually, but you still have a lot of content. And now you may be saying to yourself, well, Justin, why don't I just throw up a website with 5,000 words of content and call it a day? And while that sounds like a good idea, based on what I just told you, it doesn't work because the content has to be very relevant. And the way we make sure our content is relevant is by using keywords. Now, keywords are the most used words and phrases on a web page. And based on these keywords, Google's going to determine what your website is about. So I normally tell people try to keep these words as industry specific as possible. And ultimately, you want to answer the three questions that Google's looking for. And those questions are number one, what do you do? What's your industry? Number two, where do you do it? So, what location are you in? And number three, they want to know who you are. So, what's your brand? So, those are the three main questions I normally tell people to answer when building out your keywords. So, let's take a look at your keywords and see if those questions were answered. So here we are on a tool I use called Keywords Ever, and if we scroll down here, you're going to notice your most used keywords to your least. Obviously, we can keep working our way down, but we're going to focus on these top maybe 5 or 6 keywords because those are the most important for laying the foundation of proper keyword structure. So number one, I always recommend an industry-specific keyword. So in your case, you have air at number one, which is really good, very popular amongst AC repair companies for obvious reasons. And then number two, you have service. Now, normally, I recommend putting service a lot lower because it's a very broad keyword. However, number two should always be some sort of modifier to that first industry specific keyword. So for instance, let's say you had AC at number one. Number two would be repair or installation, something that complements that first keyword. Now, if we keep working our way down here to number three and four, normally I recommend in that three and four spot using some sort of location-based keyword. So in this example, we'd use San Antonio at number three and Texas at number four. This is super important to have this location-based keyword in here because it really stresses to Google, hey, this is where I do business, so please send me your local traffic. So definitely something to think about. We want our location in those top three and four keywords. And then number five and six, I normally recommend your brand. A lot of people don't like to put their brand in their top keywords because they say, hey, I'm already ranking number one for my business name. And while that's the case in most cases or in some cases, it's not the case in every keyword situation because sometimes you have a business across the United States or maybe in another country with a similar name and they might be a little bit bigger than your company, so they are able to outrank you on that national level or for your business name, and we don't want that to happen. So once again, so number one and two, we want our industry specific keyword. Number three and four, we want our location. And number five and six, we want our branding. But that's just kind of a base layout. Obviously, you can optimize them how you would like. Those are just my recommendations. Let's take a look at your competitors and see what type of content and keywords that they are working with. So here we have Comfort Boys. They rank on the first page organically for AC repair companies in the San Antonio area. And let's see why that is. So scrolling down their website, you're automatically going to notice that they have a ton of content on this homepage. And they're definitely receiving the favorable rankings because of it. Like I said, they do rank on that first page. And right now they have about over 2,500 words of content just on this homepage alone. So a lot of content. So, let's take a look at their keywords and see how relevant this content is and what type of keywords they're using to put themselves on that first page. Once again, we're back to keywords everywhere. And if we scroll down here, you'll notice that they have air at number one. Like I said, very common industry specific keyword. And then they immediately went to that location at the number two spot. Then they had system, call, the best, and it really starts to fall off after that. But you see the importance of having that location based keyword higher up on your website because it really stresses the relevance to Google saying, hey, I'm an air related business in the San Antonio area. But obviously, like I said, we want to further optimize than what they did. They didn't really optimize after those first two keywords. So once again, really focus in on this all around. Don't just stop after your first six either. You can even optimize down to your first 20 or 30 if you'd like. But I always recommend your first six be very industry specific and related to those three questions. So use this as kind of a guide for your website. However, like I said, don't take every keyword because they did not fully optimize all the way through. But let's go back to your website and talk about external SEO and how that ties into everything. So now we're back on your website talking about external search engine optimization. And unlike internal SEO, external SEO is going to be everything that we do away from your website. In this case, we're going to be talking about backlinking. Now, backlinking is super important because when you get a backlink from another website, it essentially transfers SEO power from one website to another. And this is super important because it also acts as a reference to Google saying, hey, I support this website or I support the information coming from this website, and it can ultimately lead to a higher ranking if that backlink comes from a trustworthy source. Now, really key in on that second part because having trustworthy sources is a big part of backlinking, and this is where a lot of people make mistakes. A lot of people buy 10,000 backlinks thinking it's going to get them to the number one ranking, ultimately just to see their website plummet, 50 spots or whatever it is because they are getting harmful or spammy links. We do not want harmful or spammy links. We always want to focus on quality because just like a good link could tell Google that you're a quality website, a bad link could also tell Google that you are a bad or spammy website. So really focus in on quality and never sacrifice quality for quantity when it comes to backlinking. Let's take a look at your current backlink structure using a tool I have called Ahrefs and determine what you'll need, or let's take a look at your competition and see how you stack up. So here we are in Ahrefs, and as you can see here, your website is plugged in. Right now you have a 35 UR and 11 DR, which puts you in the top 100 for 2,500 keywords, generates you about 874 organic users every single month. Now, this is really good. You're ahead of a lot of the people that I talk to when we first come in to discuss with them, how to increase their business. Let's talk about these metrics and explain what they mean. So UR stands for URL rating, and what that is the individual power given to a single web page. So in this case, we're just talking about your homepage, which generates a 35 UR. Now, on the other hand, we have DR. DR stands for domain rating, and what that is the individual power that goes through your entire website. So we're not just talking about your homepage anymore. We're talking about all your service pages, your product pages. All these pages are summarized in DR. So very important that we have the best of both worlds with our internal SEO, our external SEO, and that we focus on both UR and DR when we're link building because we want that solid SEO strategy. Let's take a look at some of your competitors and see what they're doing as far as UR and DR go. So here we have Comfort Boys, and you'll see that they have a 21 UR, a 1.1 DR, which puts them in the top 100 for 940 keywords and generates them about 1,400 organic users every single month. Now, something also really important to notice is this traffic value. I talk about it with a lot of people. Traffic value is a stat that is made up by Ahrefs, and it determines, where is your traffic coming from? How much buyer intent does your traffic have? Now, a good example of this would be the difference between somebody looking up air conditioning and AC repair. Air conditioning is a very general term and won't generate you a lot of traffic value because somebody looking for air conditioning could be looking to purchase a new unit, could be looking to have one installed, could be looking for a repair. You don't know what they're looking for. Whereas AC repair is a direct buyer intent keyword. Somebody looking for AC repair is looking to have their AC repaired. So makes a lot of sense that AC repair would have a lot more buyer intent and a lot more traffic value. And right now, Comfort Boys is generating $37,000 worth of traffic value every month. despite having a worse link structure than you do. And this is a credit to your internal SEO matching your external SEO. They're doing a lot more on the front end with that internal SEO, whereas you're doing a lot more on the back end. But we have to focus on both ends to make it the strongest SEO strategy possible. So let's keep working down the line here and see what some other competitors have going. So we have Will Fix It. They have a 34 UR, a 12 DR, puts them about 2,800 keywords, top 100, gives them about 4,000 users every single month, generates them about 72K in traffic value every month. If we keep working down the line, we have Armendia. I believe that they were the #1 organic ranking company. So they have a 38 UR, an 11 DR, generates them about 2,700 organic users and a traffic value of about $80,000 every single month. So a lot of potential here. And this is a good company that shows you, the best of both worlds, what you can get when you mix your internal and external SEO. But let's go back to Google and look at the search engine results page and start talking about the Google My Business profile. So here we are on Google, and if we scroll down here, what we've been talking about is down here in the organic search results. However, we have this map pack. What is this? So this is the Google Map Pack, and the reason it's so important is that it gives businesses two places that they can win online. You can win down below in the organic search results, or you can win up here in the Map Pack, and if you can do both, you essentially guarantee that 1,600 searches every single month see your business first before looking at another competitor. So super important and a lot of potential here. Now, how do we get into the Map Pack? Well, you'll have to first, fill out the GMB form to 100% and verify your business via postcard, which I can see you've already done because you rank #3. However, in order to continuously climb this Map Pack and get to #1, we're going to have to adhere to the factors that Google's looking for. And now, what are those factors? Now, #1, they look at that you fill out that form to 100%. That's very important because the more information you give Google, the more reputable your business looks. #2 is having a strong organic SEO ranking. So SEO is very important because it not only helps us rank down here, but it also has influence up here. And then #3, we're looking at citations. Now, citations are all the different places your business's name, address, and phone number are listed online. Some popular citations are things like Yelp, maybe the Yellow Pages, Facebook, Instagram. All those are different citations you can get for your business. Now, let's take a look at the number of citations each of these businesses has, including your own, and talk about how many you'll need to go in and start outranking these other two companies here. So as you can see at the top, we have Atlas AC Repair with 22 citations. Then we have Your Business with 41. And then we have San Antonio Air Service Experts with 37. So we want to go above and beyond. We don't just want to beat the next person by 4 citations. I'd probably recommend that you get over 100 citations on your business to really outrank that next person and start climbing those rankings. And once again, this is on top of all the other factors with your internal SEO, your external SEO, all your citations, maybe some extra reviews. And hopefully, that'll really push your ranking to that next level. But once again, this is all I really have for you in this video. I'd love to set up a meeting sometime and talk about the things that weren't in this video, or even any questions or concerns you may have. And once again, my name is Justin Gilman with Quantum Leads. I hope this video is very educational, and thanks for watching.